Welcome, everybody, to the Starin Town Hall. This is the July Town Hall. Happy summer. Welcome back. If you guys have been away for a little bit, or if you've been on vacation, happy to see you all back. But we're going to jump right into it today. We have with us Matt and Brian from Neat. They're going to be showing us some cool stuff and telling us all the new things that you may have heard or not heard at InfoComm. We're going to get you up to speed on everything that they're doing. We're going to show you some products. We're going to talk to you about Pulse. We're going to talk to you about a lot of different things. But more importantly, it is a town hall. So this does not work without your audience participation. So into the Q&A is where you drop the questions. And this is where you guys get the time to meet and see the people that work in the manufacturing space. There are people that are actually there, and they're there to support you guys. They just don't send the boxes out, and we don't mysteriously ship them to you. There are people behind those boxes, and there's engineering and sales and marketing folks that are here to help as well. And you have access to them at our town hall and throughout any of the sale, the inquiries you guys may have regarding the products. So without further ado, Matt, welcome to the Starin Town Hall. If you want to introduce yourself and get us started.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I'm just going to throw up a couple of slides to kind of get us started, and then we're going to kick it over to Brian as far as the demo. So I think that'll be good. Let me just bring that up real quick here.
For the folks watching at home, where are you located, Matt?
I'm based in Kansas City. So go Chiefs for everybody that's out there.
There could be a lot worse to root for, but the Chiefs are definitely one of the better teams right now to go for it. So I approve of this message.
Very good, very good. Well, thanks again, everybody, for joining us today. We're excited about where Neat's kind of headed. I'm going to go over a quick kind of overview of the company and kind of how we've evolved, I guess, into what we're going to be calling Neat 2.0, Neat 2.0. But again, my name is Matt Brungardt. I'm the director of distribution for the Americas here at Neat. And then I also got on the call with me.
Yep, so I'm Brian Dunat. I'm a product specialist here at Neat. I've been here about 2 years and really focus on supporting all of our channel partners and distributors. So happy to be on the call today to help out.
And Brian, where are you located at as well?
So I'm actually just outside of Chicago. If you can't figure it out, big Hawks fan here. So sorry, that's how it rolls. Hockey runs through the bloodlines here in the Dunat household. So. And Chris, you cannot have any commentary about that.
No, we will not. Listen, not all of us can be perfect, so I understand.
Oh, man, this is going to be a fun one.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll kind of just kickstart it real quick, too. Again, thanks for everybody joining us today. For some of you may not know about Neat. It's just the first time you're getting to experience what we provide to the market. We're just over 4 years old, so we've done a lot of things up to this point, and we have a lot more to help you and your customers out going forward. But to give you some background of where we've come from, initially we started the company at the beginning of 2019. We started shipping our first products at the end of the year. And it was really simple. We wanted to just provide a simple solution to help solve those customer needs around the video conferencing space in the meeting room. With COVID hitting and everything else, we kind of adapted and moved a lot to the personal space, executive home offices, as you know, and we also focused more around Zoom. We added the Neat board shortly later in 2020, which a lot of you have experienced. It's a 65-inch screen. And we started adding our patented technology and our experiences that Brian's going to show you today, such as Neat Symmetry. After that, what we've tried to do is expand that into different UC platforms. So beyond Zoom, now we're certified in all of our products on Microsoft Teams. And we've expanded into different size meeting room spaces. So not just the small to medium sized spaces, we've expanded into the larger rooms with our Neat Bar Pro, and then went back into the personal spaces with Neat Frame, as you'll see. But as I mentioned, we're moving into what we call Neat 2.0. And so we want to go beyond just the physical devices. And so today what we're going to talk a lot about is Neat Pulse, as well as just some of the experiences and stuff that we're trying to solve for. But with that, I want to show you one more slide, and that's just our new portfolio that you'll kind of see. So Neat Board 65, the 65-inch screen that we brought to market, our Neat Board 50 that hopefully most of you have seen at InfoComm. It was the first time we showed that off. We will take pre-orders. We're actually taking pre-orders right now through Starin. And you can kind of work through Katie at Starin as well. We also have our Neat Center above that'll be coming out later this year. And to kind of round out our portfolio, we've got the Neat Bar Pro, and that Neat Frame on the far right. But what I'll do is I'll turn it over to Brian so we can go ahead and just start showing some of our experiences off firsthand, and then we'll move into Neat Pulse. So keep the questions coming for Chris. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Matt. So with that, just real quick, hey, Mark, if you're out there, if you could just start my video for the room bar. It's telling me I can't kick that off. And then I can go ahead and kick off the demo here. There we go. Perfect. All right. So just real quick for those that don't know about Neat. So I'm actually in my home office, about 12 by 12, just to kind of level set on that. What's really unique about our camera technology when we brought this to market, as Matt kind of illustrated, is we changed up a lot of the stuff we used to do when we were at Tandberg and Econo and Pexip, and changing away from moving from PTZ-based cameras to all high-resolution digital camera lenses, but also how we actually find and track folks within a meeting space to make sure it's an equitable meeting experience for those that are remote. So what do we mean by that, right? We don't do anything with facial recognition or voice switching. What we're looking for is a human object within that meeting space. And when we find that, our camera is going to lock in and it's actually going to follow us as we move around within that meeting space. Now, as I move back here and I actually want to look at something here on our whiteboard and maybe pull up and kind of signify here that we have the one-touch join capability from Zoom to join the meetings. A couple things you're going to notice. One, you can still hear me, which is great because that kind of debunks the audio myth of, is audio really that good in all-in-one devices? You can hear me clearly whether I was looking here or whether I was talking back here, focused at my Neat board. Now, the second thing is you notice that the camera followed me. Now, we're not doing anything special just yet, but I'm just going to simulate, and this is actually kind of the fun part. So if you aren't paying attention, now's the time to pay attention. Got some cameo appearances coming. But what's going to happen and what I want to kind of showcase is as people start joining the meeting space, we're going to do what a lot of vendors do, right? Like a lot of other manufacturers. We do group auto framing, okay? Nothing fancy. You got the outside of each other's shoulders, and that's fine. And then maybe we have another one that decides to join in here, right? We get Mr. Farley to actually hop in and, you know, maybe he's going to sell you some brake parts after. Call Starin for that. Just kidding. Now, this is pretty good, right? We're looking for the outside shoulders of everybody. The problem that we found was that this is what a lot of our customers are running into. When I come back here and I stand against my board and I'm 12 feet away, this is a terrible experience as a far end. It's even worse if I had active speaker tracking because then you wouldn't see Chris and Al. So what we developed when we came to market was actually our Neat Symmetry technology. And we're actually seeing a lot of other OEM manufacturers start to copy this and come up with different implementations of this feature. Now, again, this is something we brought to market, and this does individual auto framing. So as I move around here within my home meeting space, it's going to continue to track me individually and put me at eye level with Adam and Chris. And the reason for that is we want to make sure that everybody within a meeting space is always present. Right? So even if I come back here, maybe I move Adam and now he's going to present. So I'm going to put him up against my board and I walk up here. A couple things you're going to notice is that it actually did flip our video. So that again, when I turn this way and talk to Adam, it's very natural looking for those on the far end. You're not trying to understand like, where's Adam, where's Chris sitting and things like that. As well as, again, as things continue to change within the meeting space, if Chris leaves, right, what you're going to notice is that the camera's going to readjust. It's going to find Adam and myself, and we're going to go back to the individual symmetry capabilities. So this is honestly very, very critical for us in ensuring that everybody within a meeting space is actually present. So just at a high level, that's what we do. Now, Matt showed kind of that picture of all the different devices that we have in our product portfolio. And this feature of symmetry is available from anything from our personal video appliance and Neat Frame, all the way up to our large room device, which is our Neat Bar Pro. Okay. Now, the next big thing that we want to jump into is Neat Pulse, and that is our management platform. So give me 1 second. I'm going to transition back to my desk, share my screen, and then we'll walk through Pulse and we'll do a live demo using my board right behind me. Okay, so back over here. What I'm going to do real quick is just share my screen, and then we're going to walk through this. So Neat Pulse, this is going to be our new offering that we're going to be bringing out here very, very shortly. And the way we want you to think of this is the 4 C's of Neat Pulse. We are going to have control. That is going to give us that remote control to manage your Neat devices. One point I want to clarify, and this question comes up everywhere. We're a Zoom shop, we use ZDM. Or we're a Team shop, we use Teams Admin Center or TAC. Why should I buy Neat? The thing is, with both of those platforms, they do a good job of providing some basic control of our Neat devices, but it doesn't get you into the granular control where maybe you want to enable BYOD mode, or you want to enable Bluetooth, right? Some of those settings aren't accessible just because we're one of many OEM manufacturers that Zoom and Microsoft Teams are going to support. The second piece of this is going to be care. And today, out of the box, we've provided Neat technical support for free to all of our customers. We're going to be moving to different models to provide Neat Pulse, where now that will be a paid support feature. We also have coverage. Today we sell the extended warranties that you've probably seen when you've gotten your quotes from Starin, where we've got a Neat bar, a Neat pad, and then the Neat maintenance on that. We're going to include that in one of the Pulse options. And then the last thing, and this was the big thing that we launched at InfoComm earlier this year, is choice. And that is going to be where we're going to start supporting running native third-party applications on our Neat devices. Great use case for that is when we're thinking about things like I want to have a scheduling app, right? And today we use AppSpace, even though we're a Microsoft Teams shop. Now with Choice, when that becomes available later this fall, you'll be able to deploy AppSpace on a room scheduler, run that application while within the room you may have a Neat device that's running either Zoom or Microsoft Teams. So we'll be bringing those options to market, and this is really what our Pulse plans are going to look like. So right out of the gates, we're going to have Pulse Starter, which is going to get you access to control. And then that is something that any Neat customer can go ahead and opt into, and they will get Pulse Starter free of charge through the end of this year. Okay. As part of that, though, what will change is that we won't have free technical support. We will have an initial technical support for up to 90 days. So again, we want our customers to receive those devices if they opt not to purchase a Pulse plan. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully they are going to move forward with Pulse. But if they don't and they have issues within that first 90 days and they need support, they're going to be able to contact Neat technical support and get responses and get help for that. Then the next one will be Pulse Plus, and Pulse Plus is effectively going to include both control and care, which is our Neat technical support, but will not have the extended warranty. Okay, that will move to a limited warranty option when we get to that. And then the third option will be Pulse Pro. And Pro is going to be all inclusive of control, care, and cover. So that's really what we want to have our partners lead with and work with Starin to quote out for them, where we want to add a 3-year Pulse Pro plan to each quote that we go out, because ultimately that's going to provide the best investment protection for our customers, ensure they have support, and ensure they have advanced part replacements in case there are any issues with their Neat devices. Okay. What I wanted to do real quick now is let me just toggle over and I'll show you what Pulse actually looks like. So this is one of the tenants that we have. Again, if you follow me, you've probably seen a couple of these videos, or if you stopped by the booth and saw us at InfoComm, that's where we had this. What I am going to do is just move my camera a little bit so you guys can see my board behind me. So what we have here is just at a high level, what is Pulse, right? So this is the management platform. It's complementary to ZDM and TAC, like I mentioned. Just want to clarify this. It's not a replacement for ZDM or TAC. You're still going to need to leverage like Teams Admin Center to deploy Teams apps. But this is where we're going to get more granular control to these devices. So we're going to start very, very simply, right? I'm going to go into settings. I'm going to define my company. I'm going to define my regions, my locations. And the reason why that's important is as you start deploying rooms within your organization, and then you want to invite administrators or admins or partners to manage that, you can then have the ability to lock it down such that if I said, you know what, Chris, I'm only going to allow him to manage Canada. When I send him the invite, I could say, hey, he's only going to be an admin. He's only going to see Canada. And the way that I would do that is when I come over here and I put in his email address to invite him to this, I would select admin, and then I would say, hey, Chris only has access to Canada. When I put in his email and I click invite and he accepts, that's the only thing he's going to see. The next thing we have is our configuration profiles. So again, one of the requests that we got from our customers when they started deploying and adopting Neat within their environment is one where, hey, I kind of got this room tuned in. How do I make that the default for all of the Neat rooms that I'm going to deploy devices to? So that is something where we can come in here and we can start drilling into the Neat specific system settings. So this is where I'm going to be able to set what channel do I want to receive the updates, right? Preview is kind of our early release channel where you can test it out, test out the new stuff we're bringing to market. Stable is going to be after somebody breaks it, we fix it, and then we feel pretty comfortable that we're going to push it to stable. Then we move it there. Then we have screen standby. So for things like energy efficiency, right? And we have a lot of customers who are asking, we want to go green. No problem. We can set this up such that the device shuts the screen off after a period of time. It auto wakes up. I can change appearance. I could change screen brightness. I have a lot of other features available here that I can start to set, such as some of our new audio features, right? Like voice isolation and de-reverberation that we have for Bar Pro and Frame and coming to Bar and Board soon. Audio over USB on Bar Pro. These are all things that you can configure within the configuration profile so that as you start applying these, those will pop up. Once I get done with that, I'm going to go actually into the devices. And this is where I'll show you some of the really cool things that we have going on. So if I click on my board, which is sitting right behind me, one of the things that's going to come up here right out of the get-go is this is going to be my board overview page. Okay. This is going to show everything that's running on my device and everything about the room that I've deployed it in. Okay. If maybe that wasn't like such a good, let's pick on another device. Maybe my desk bar, for example, the one that I'm on right now, right? I can connect in here. I could add a snapshot of the room. This is great when you think about for customers and partners, right? Especially our partners who are managing multiple Neat deployments across multiple different customers. Add a screenshot of that room, right? What does that room look like? So that when I connect into the bar or I connect into this room profile, I can see what was that room that we're troubleshooting. Because of our people count technology built into our devices, I can see that this device is in use. It has one person in that room, right? It's the one that I'm looking at right now as we're talking about it. I can see that, yeah, it's pretty hot up here. Unfortunately, that's the problem when you run as many devices in the Dunat Demo Center as I do. It gets kind of toasty. But then down here, I can actually see that I have a Neat bar and a Neat pad that makes up this room profile. I can see that it's a Zoom, and I can see that it's an in-call. So maybe I want to click on this and drill into some more of the details. Again, here's some of the things where we can get into looking at what's the IP address, what's the version, right? I could take a look at a little bit more of the granular details. Now, if I had a configuration profile assigned, it would have some of these things locked. But let's go back to my board because that's going to be more fun. And let's see here. So if I click here on, let's just say the system, if you look behind me, right now the screen is actually pretty dim. But if I click on this and I actually drag this slider up, what you'll notice is that that screen becomes really, really bright right behind me, right? And all I'm really doing is just doing a simple adjustment right here from our management portal, but you'll notice that it's happening instantaneously. Now, maybe what I've said is, hey, I need to make sure that BYOD is on, because, you know, we have a lot of customers here that are kind of in higher ed and they're leveraging Zoom, but then at the same time, they've got some Google. This is a great way to do this, right? When I enable this and I have it set, I could then go in, I could actually come up here, I could click restart, I could kick off a remote reboot. You'll notice right behind me, now my Neat board just shut down, it restarted. Now it's actually gonna load and boot up with the BYOD turned on, okay? I also have a lot of other features. Now, when this comes back up, then I could actually take remote control if I wanted to. So we'll give this just a second as it comes up because this is probably the most powerful feature personally that I think of. because I think of the legacy video days when we had, for instance, TMS in the Cisco environment. We'd schedule, the executive leadership calls globally, and then we'd have these endpoints dial in at the end. All of this, we don't really have that today in Zoom or Teams. But what I could do is actually click remote control here. It's going to prompt for an approval. I'm going to click allow just to kind of fast forward through this. And what you'll notice is that now this is going to come up and I have access to it. So if I wanted to click on Google Meet, for example, because I wanted to use direct guest join, I could throw in a meeting code here and dial right in. If instead I wanted to click here and maybe I wanted to hop into a separate call, I could actually just type in my PZR, for example. If I typed in the right screen. Come on. There we go. Right, I'm doing all this remote, which is huge. I click join. Now it's going to initiate that call on my board. I'm going to just hang up real quick just because I don't want it to make everybody have their ears blown out because of the microphone. So that's one of the capabilities. Another thing I'll just show you, which I think is going to be real powerful, is we were just looking at my desk bar, right? So what does this look like from remote control? Because now it's not a single device. This is actually two devices. I have a pad and I have a bar. So what does that look like? Well, guess what? You can see both. I think this is pretty awesome, right? Because now I can actually see what's happening in the room. It's probably not a great example because it's going to start creating the mirror effect. But on the left-hand side now, I have my pad. So if I clicked here, now when I click on mute, now my audio is back, right? So I have control of that, as well as if I wanted to change features of how the bar is operating, I'm able to see that. So these are just a few of the great things that I think we're bringing to market with Neat Pulse. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't seen, check out our partner webinar that's coming up here on August 3rd. And with that, I'm just going to flip back to our slide deck so that Matt can kind of close it out for us with some of the upcoming events we have.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, just going to run through a few of these real quick before we start getting into some of the questions. A couple of things that we just recently launched. We had a webinar this past week that talked about security around Android devices and specifically to Neat. So I just want to make sure everybody on the call and all of our partners know how to get to partners.neat.no. We put all of our recordings on the partner portal, and any of the upcoming events like you see here today will be loaded there as well. So make sure you have access to that, and we can create a user ID and password for you if you just email us at partners@neat.no and get you set up, or reach out to Starin and your account rep and or Katie there as well. The next one that we have coming up is what we call Neat in 20. It's going to be August 3rd. And so we're going to have a little bit of what you saw today, kind of a little bit more detailed as well, around mostly focusing on Neat Pulse as well. And then we'll also talk about some of our other new items coming in the future. But we're doing a lot of events this next couple of months around Microsoft and Zoom. Starin's been really, really great on getting us in on a couple of these events that they were producing. I think one's going to be in August in the Bay Area, and we're going to have a couple other ones that we'll announce. But again, we'll have all that information on the partner sites. And further down the road, what we'll have is Zoomtopia and Microsoft Ignite in October and November timeframe, and we'll continue to add more as need be. But lots of things going on here. I'll turn it back to Chris real quick if you want to start with some Q&A.
Sure. We'll address some Q&A. Let's go right to it. First question came from Rob. Is this the real Chris or an animated Pop Funko Chris? I have no idea what you're talking about, Rob. So I'll just leave it at that. That's a lot. The next question came in from Sean. Sean asks, how many speakers or people can pop up in their own window per session when using the Neat bar?
Yep. So when we have symmetry, this will be the case for frame, bar, board, and board 50, which is our newest device that we just launched. You will get 8 individual folks. So we will go 4 wide in kind of a portrait view, and then we'll kind of crop that window and go into a mugshot view, where then we'll do 3 on the top, 2 on the bottom until we get to 8. With Bar Pro, we can support up to 15. And what happens in, let's say, a room where maybe you deploy a bar or a board, and let's say 10 people join your meeting, what we will do is we will actually group some of those folks together, because typically there's like overlap, right? Like if Matt and I were sitting on one side of a table, we're right next to each other, our camera is going to see the two of us sitting real close, and it's going to crop us together in one of those individual zones.
Sounds good. All right. I have my own question as well, because I took down some notes while you were talking. What are the new enhancements to the Neat Bar Pro with the new release?
Yeah, so this is right now we have our Fuji release in preview, which means early access for testing. And two of the big things that we're bringing out that will, I think, drastically change and the feature set on Bar Pro is, number one, we're going to support BYOD. So today we support BYOD on bar and board. So that allows you to connect USB-C and HDMI to a laptop, join any meeting platform, and still experience all the great audio and video you get out of a Neat device. The second thing that we did was a big audio improvement where we've implemented, we've enhanced our deep noise suppression algorithm. So a lot of the things like rustling chip bags or fidget spinners, I'm guilty of that, sorry. Or if, let's just say I have a fan or a truck's going down the road, right? Like that stuff's going to get pulled out. The second piece of that, though, is we're implementing de-reverberation. And yes, that's a mouthful. And that will be that is on by default on frame, but it is going to be an option within Neat Bar Pro. And what does that mean? So we think of those acoustically challenged rooms, for those that aren't familiar with it, where you go in there and you kind of get that real echoey sound, right? Where I could hear, like if Chris was talking at the end of a room and it's all glass, I could hear Chris, but on the far end, I also hear some of his echo, right? And that's because it's the sound bouncing off, right? It's just like if I was standing at the top of a canyon and yelled into the canyon and you kind of hear the echo keep rolling. What we've done is address that with our new audio algorithm to pull out that echo. So it is just one clean, crisp voice from Chris. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. Depends. We'll see how on point Chris is in that conference room. But I would just say for any of our customers that have that is now available in our preview channel. So go into your Neat system settings, go to software update, click on change the channel from stable to preview, run the update, reboot it, and test the audio. And I guarantee you it will be 100% different experience in that room.
Cool. Kind of a DM that was sent to me during this call. So something that it was internal question that came in that want to remain anonymous. A lot of talk about Pulse today. You went through the whole Pulse thing. Will Pulse, where's the relation with Pulse and warranties? Basically, do Neat have the extended warranties? Do they still exist? Is Pulse kind of taking that? Where is that in relation? Or is this wrong? Right? Is warranties and Pulse two different things?
No, I can jump in on that one too. So warranties are going to be end of service life. So as of August 1st, we're making the announcement. So we'll have 30 days to continue to sell those. We are moving all those extended warranties over to Pulse. So if you've got an existing warranty in place, you're going to be grandfathered in to the program. And in going forward, all of our partners and our sellers at Neat will be quoting these new SKUs that Starin will have in their system, hopefully later today, because we've got the new descriptions and part numbers, and hopefully it'll go live August 7th is what we're shooting for. So you'll hopefully have that soon. But yeah, and one question that comes up a lot, I think, on our side, at least in our FAQs, is will they be available to certain segments? So instance like the federal segment, they do want 1 year warranties. So we will have some one-offs that we'll continue to support. But for the price list that you're going to see that's published and advertised, it's going to be 100%. We're moving towards these new SKUs under Pulse.
Awesome. I guess I didn't ask the 900-pound gorilla in the room. It obviously part of what's going on in our industry. But I'd rather you guys say it right, from your mouths. Where are we at with supply chains?
So supply chain is really good. So everything that you saw today of our existing product line, we've got in stock in all of our warehouses. Starin's got everything in stock as well. The Neat Board 50 that was announced at Infocom, that's still pre-order. So we will have the first shipments, I believe, in September, starting to go out for that. And Neat Center that you saw in a couple of the initial slides, that'll be later in the year. But everything right now, current inventory ready to go. Just sell, sell, sell.
And I think, Matt, to that point too, just to reiterate, because I think this is I get this question all the time, are all those devices team certified? So everything you saw on that initial screen, so frame, pad, board, bar pro, all fully certified on Zoom and Microsoft Teams. Board 50, Neat Center, we're working through those certifications right now with Zoom and Microsoft Teams. So it's not vaporware, it's actually happening. So just kind of level set so everybody has the right expectation.
Awesome. I got a question in from an anonymous attendee, and I'm just going to rephrase it a little bit. They said, for the partners that weren't at Infocom, can you tell us what caused the most neat buzz?
Yeah.
Let's reframe that. What was the one thing that you guys kept getting at your booths that was definitely just a reoccurring, what seemed to be on the topic for a lot of the integrators and end users that were visiting your booth?
So I'll take it because, quite frankly, I will just say this is my second Infocom with Neat. This year was by far, our booth was packed. Like, we kind of all joked around. We're like, there's never a space to just stand because you could barely see the floor. I would say hands down, the biggest thing that we showcased was that was the first time we demoed Neat Center in North America. So we had our units there and demoed that. It was so popular. People were, and I know many at Starin were bringing customers and partners back through to see that. We actually had bouncers. We had to position people to keep people out of the room just so that we could effectively run those demos. And the feedback that we got was, you guys are way further along than I thought this actually was. And what I mean by that is from center, being that it's going to be very flexible, right? You can hang it from the ceiling. You could set it on the table. You could move it, right? So you have movable furniture and you want to move it. Because of the way we architected the cameras, the mics, and that device, you can move that and it's going to adjust just like our camera AI does here. But to see how well that worked, and again, I think back to education, because it's going to be such a game changer, right? If I'm staring here at the device, like I'm looking at the classroom, you guys all see me. But the minute I turn around and I want to talk to my board, this isn't a good experience if you're on the far end. And I don't really like you looking at my balding spot in the back either. When you have Neat Center there, as soon as you turn, right, that camera image switched. So now I always have front and center of the folks that are part of that meeting that I've tuned with our framing boundary on our device. So hands down, that was huge. The second most critical thing I would just say, Chris, because I'm just going to say, there's a lot of discussion at our booth, was the App Hub capability, right? And that's something, again, that's part of Choice. That'll be the fourth component of Pulse that we'll bring to market later this fall. The fact that people could see all these native apps running on the device, we had a few folks from Zoom, you might know who I'm speaking of, who came up and said, do you realize what you're doing in the education space? Like, if I could run LMS apps natively on a board, that's pretty awesome. And then now with the wireless share capability we're going to bring out with Neat Share, he's like, and now I could share that into a Zoom call that's running on my Bar Pro. I don't think you realize like the untapped potential that generates. And from that, we have had a lot of interest in that specific talk track as we're sitting down with customers, especially in the education space, because I think there's a lot of use cases. Healthcare, we had some, but I would say even in corporate, right? Like if I could run Miro or Mural on a board, right? It's a native app. I can't do it today with Zoom or Teams unless I go to BYOD mode. If I could have that native app and I could easily flip it, that's pretty big. That's a pretty big game changer. So those, I would say that Center for sure, but then the App Hub was a huge component of that.
Yeah, the only one you forgot was that I was a bouncer, and I was the third most talked about thing at the Neat booth. Keeping people back. There's easy up on the center. Yeah, everybody's excited about that. Multi-camera is obviously a big buzzword. You guys are right on that, on the cusp of that as well. Getting into that, and that is one of the most hotly requested or hotly contested thing because everybody's coming with a product. I just can't wait to see all of them all at the same time, and then get my hands on one to try. So, super excited about multi-camera view in the conference space, not only for the boardroom, but like you said, in the higher ed space and some other spaces that people wouldn't traditionally wouldn't think of doing that. But we've been doing it for years with multiple PTZ cameras and different angles and stuff, putting it in the center of the space and watching it go and using AI, definitely a game changer. Next
But I
question.
think, Chris, to that point, just real quick, I was just
Mhm.
going to say, when you're mentioning that, think about what that cost was for those type of room solutions in the past, though. Multi-camera, codecs, controllers, everything. With Neat Center, we're talking about another PoE device, drop it on the network, open up the pairing menu on your pad, add it to the room, and then let the Neat Camera AI dictate which camera lens it's going to capture you on and show.
And that kind of came up in the discussion because some people are like, you know what, we kind of like the camera operated by somebody, until the discussion turned into, but that somebody can't be in the room because of privacy concerns, especially on the healthcare side. So having AI kind of judging just for the camera angles kind of keeps that person, the third party person, out of the space. Which in a lot of cases, that's what legal teams were kind of like hoping for, that they could get multi-camera in a space without a camera operator. Obviously, cost is obviously a concern, but let's be honest, this is going to be working in a conference space. And for the folks that are listening and watching and paying attention to this technology, it's not going to become a Hollywood producer. Please do not call SAG, who are on strike right now, and tell them that we're going to replace them with some AI cameras. They'll go nuts. So let's honor that. Thank you so much. The next question I have, not really a question, I guess it came in from Peter Stern. No question. Just want to thank everybody for today's session. Very informative. I'll have to drop soon, and have a great day and stay cool. Thank you, Peter, for stopping by and for joining the town hall. Appreciate it. Always good to have people that come by and say something nice as opposed to yell at me for not saying what I'm supposed to say. Like, how do you end a show that has been so action-packed and full of it? I am going to say that I'm going to first start by going to Matt and say, Matt, where can the folks on this call get more information about Neat?
Yeah, so we have, I think with Starin, I definitely want to make sure you reach out to your account executives because going back to what you said about Center, once we launched that and Pulse as well, those are all new conversations that we can go back and talk to existing customers on. And I think what Neat wants to do is we're looking at creating that better experience for the end customer, and adding those two devices is going to create that experience better. Also, I mean, from our side, we have the website, of course, neat.no. We also have our partner site, partners.neat.no, for a lot of great collateral. Again, the webinars will be there as well. But I think our synergies between Starin and Neat, just reach out to either one of us and we can kind of get your questions answered. And especially with all the new products and pricing coming out, I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions once we get this officially launched.
Yes, and it's a mad dash from now. I mean, it is July. We are now going to be on the mad dash to the end of the year. Obviously, the fall is going to be busy. For us at Starin, we are going to be on the road doing a lot of different things, a lot of different shows. We're going to be present at the CDSCI Expo. That's the first one up in September. We'll probably be at UCX as well down in Austin. And there's a lot of talk of other shows and possible our own road shows that we will be doing. Obviously, joining Neat and Microsoft and the Zoom folks as they are out as well. So it is going to be a busy fall. And now is the time, if you guys want to talk to the folks from Neat, if you need Brian to do a demo, contact your Starin rep. We will absolutely connect that. We will do another cool, what other stand-up figures do you have if the Chris Farley and Adam Sandler are not available to come that day? You guys,
this is kind of a pretty unique figure in myself, Chris. I figure the three of us, that's pretty good, right? But if you have suggestions, I will gladly find them and add a fourth.
Absolutely. So get in contact with your Starin rep. We will absolutely do all the fun demos that you want, including at some point later on down the road, because it is a fall 2023 release, of center. So everybody's excited about that. You may want to get on the list or a waiting list. Maybe we should start creating a waiting list for that demo when the time comes, Matt. I think that would probably be a good idea, get people on there so you can see, hear, and experience what that's going to be. Obviously, Neat Pulse, just wrapping up what we did today, is a big feature set that you guys want to take a look at. Obviously, the analytics and metrics and ROI, it's what you guys are doing these installs for. This is how it's proving that it's working and doing all the cool stuff. And obviously, the energy savings and everything that comes along with Pulse is a benefit to everything that we do. So thank you guys so much for taking some time sitting with us and doing the demos. The guys from Neat, you got the information on Neat. The next town hall will be coming up soon, but it's never a town hall if I do not give away a prize, and that's what you guys are up for. So I'm waiting now for producer Mark to kind of spin the wheel of prizes, and he's going to send me the winner of today's $50 Amazon gift card is Matt Pinney. Yes, Matt. Producer Mark will be in touch. He has your information, and he will be sending out the $50 gift card. And somebody wants me to get a stand-up cardboard of me. That is not, first of all, there's not enough cardboard, and the lens is not wide enough. Come on, guys. I've eaten a lot of barbecue this summer, and apparently I'm getting into some, people are trying to get me pineapple on pizza. That's not happening either. But thank you so much for stopping by. This has been another fun-filled and action-packed Starin Town Hall. Join us next month. We will have another surprise guest joining us. Guys, thank you so much for stopping by. This has been the July Starin Town Hall.